YouTube, what is going on, man? It's your boy Benji, and we are back with the crew. This video is titled "When Men Are No Longer Simping." Women have taken notice. Every content has ruined generations. Let's see what this is about. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. Send me videos on Twitter in order to react to.
All the women pill content. Front and center, please.
Hey, yes, she is me and I am she. I've dated a red pill podcast guy, and when I tell you it damn near destroyed me, it is a disastrous thing in our community, and we really need to talk about it. Dating a guy in the beginning, it was nice. He was sweet, he was kind, he was generous, everything like that. But then he started to become aggressive, and that concerned me because he wasn't physically aggressive, but he was verbally aggressive. The tones that he used with me would actually scare me. And I told him, I laid it out like, I've never been talked to aggressively by a man. I've never been in an abusive relationship. My daddy never even talked to me aggressively. So I'm not going to accept that. And he changed for a little bit, but then he started watching those podcasts, which he then told me that he was watching. I suggested that he stop watching the podcast, delete, curate his own social media, stop watching the podcast and get therapy, because he would say things like, you got to be aggressive towards women. That's the only way that they gonna respect you. And I'm like, no, like, I respect.
I don't know who he was watching, what he was listening to. That's a crazy word. That's jail time, brother.
Did you when I met you, and you were kind and sweet as pie. Aggressiveness is scary for a woman, especially a big man using a negative tone towards a woman. That's terrifying. And he told me I got to delete all these red pill podcasts. He's like, I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was just guys talking. I said, it's different types of podcasts. If they're not uplifting you, if they're telling you nothing but negativity, they're putting poison in your mind. If everything you see and hear is negativity, that's what you're going to see and feel. Negativity. You have to curate what you see in your life, especially being an older person. You need to know better. So I gave him 2 chances, and both chances he failed. And his thing also about dating an attractive woman. When we go out, I put myself on. I look good. I'm beautiful. I'm very charismatic, and that was what he loved about me. But watching the Red Pill podcast, his thing, he would make these weird statements about, oh, I know these men trying to talk to you and blah 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 blah. I know you be going out on dates and blah 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 blah. I'm working 3 hours away from home. And then he would say things like, oh, I know you probably messing with a dude down there, a woman as attractive as you. And like, these red pill podcasts would literally poison him and make him think that I'm a woman that I was not. Okay.
Or his insecurities just started jumping out when you got into a relationship because you believe that this is somebody that aligned with you and his real self came out. What the heck is he listening to that he would believe that you're secretly cheating on him when you're gone for 3 hours? And you said you say she works 3 hours away? What?
Ladies, if your men are watching a red pill podcast, break up with them. They need therapy. That's poison. They are experiencing traumatic events on a daily basis, and they don't even know. They're feeding their minds with poison, and they don't.
Come on now, this is ridiculous work. It's just like somebody playing GTA and then being like, oh yeah, at least break up with them, because there's some people that understand how to discern content from reality. And if you cannot discern that difference, then yeah, you gotta go.
They don't even know. Dealing with a man who watches red pill podcasts or even participate in that type of stuff.
I really don't like it when women try to conclude that everything is because of red pill. And the truth be told, this man that she dated just sounds a bit insecure. And it definitely matters who these men are talking to, because I'm not talking about guys who listen to Dumbass Fresh and Fit, but it usually helps level-headed men to level up a bit and focus on more important things versus acting like a beta male like the man that she's describing.
In a world where men are consuming this like weird red pill content, and you really like you don't know if that's how they are until they start talking, it's the words you need to listen out for. As soon as I hear the word modern woman come out of a man's mouth, I'm sprinting away. I
mean, I kind of understand it, but we are all modern women and modern men. I mean, we live in modernity.
Sprinting. I'm in a full jog. What other words? Alpha male? Absolutely not. If he starts talking about a high value man, absolutely not. Oh, body count?
Yeah, somebody like calling themselves a high value man, that's crazy word.
You're out of here.
No, the body count thing doesn't make any sense. People have been talking about that forever. Like, since we were in like elementary school. Stop that.
You're so far out of here, bro. First of all, even if he's not a red pill, if you use the word body count,
I agree.
Might not necessarily be into red pill content, but you're too old to be asking about that. You're way too old to be asking about that. You're weird. This is another one that might not necessarily be a red pill red flag, but it's still a red flag to me. You start talking about how like I like asking men about their past relationships because it gives you good insight to who they are.
No, not really.
And if you start saying like, oh, my old girl didn't listen to me, like she just wouldn't listen or she wouldn't let me lead, I'm not interested in you anymore.
Wouldn't the same be true if a woman was like, oh yeah, my man wasn't a leader and I tried to let him lead and he wouldn't? Wouldn't the same be true?
Or I'm sorry.
Oh, that has anything to do with the red pill. I think it's just a lot of people's mindsets.
Why do you feel like you need to lead a grown woman? Why does a grown woman with bodily autonomy
You need to talk to a lot of the women that ask for their men to be leaders
and self-control need another grown man to tell me what to do and I have to listen? What? Like, I'm clutching my pearls right now. What are you talking about? If he refers to women as females, absolutely no. Yeah. If he starts calling men simps, absolutely not. I love a simp. And I was just talking about this too. A guy that I'm talking to the other day. I love him. You call him a simp, I call him a king. That's my man. My man. If you're not gonna simp
because he's catering to you.
For me, if you too busy keeping it cool and acting nonchalant, you need to keep it over there because I'm not interested at all. And this last one might not necessarily be a red flag, but if you talk down on single mothers, because some men will find a way to somehow work that into the conversation, or women that don't have a relationship with their dads, you're out of here, buddy. I'm not here for it.
Where are all the women who?
I guess you can make commentary about somebody's past, but that does kind of give you a little bit of insight to what they may become. Similarly, how you said you could talk about somebody's past relationships, bro. If you could talk about somebody's past relationships, how could somebody bring up, oh yeah, I had a past relationship with this person, and now I have a kid out of it, and maybe the relationship was rocky. What would be the issue with somebody being able to determine whether or not they wanted to get in or get out of that relationship? Now, I understand talking down is a completely different thing, so, I mean, I can agree with that aspect.
Lost their male partners to red pill content.
Oh my God, story time, because this was literally me.
Oh man, they going off.
So me and my current boyfriend, because yes, we are still together, but let me tell the story. We got together 4 years ago. And when we first got, y'all know I struggle to talk, right? Well, when me and I struggled real bad. When me and my boyfriend first got together 4 years ago, he was a totally different guy, even than like the guy he is today. He had just gone through some stuff. He was working on himself. And honestly, like, he was an easy guy to fall for. Like, successful, had his own house, you know, the works. But like, slowly over the course of the time we were together, I noticed like this change in his behavior. He slowly kind of started to evolve. Like, he wasn't treating me the same way. We didn't talk as much. And I honestly didn't enjoy being around him. Like, I didn't like him. But like, right when I started getting to a breaking point, I noticed one day, like, I heard on his phone, Mr. Andrew. And it all clicked. Like, it all started making sense. I was like, okay, this is going to be an uphill path. And I'm not going to lie, we fought like daily for a long time. It was a lot of fighting. But eventually I realized like he was hurting and I had to really meet him where he was and try empathy instead of anger and judgment. And it was very hard for me to do. And I'm not even going to sit here and act like it's something that is even worth doing with everybody. But I realized that he was a really good person and he was worth doing that with. So like, your relationship doesn't have to fall apart. It just took, I'm not going to lie, like years. Truly, like, just as much time as we spent together before that, we spent almost that same amount of time working on a relationship.
Yeah. Woman realizes what it's like to be in a relationship
after that. But I also feel like that's why it's so important to realize that Andrew Tate is the only person talking to these men. And if you want a different result, you have to talk to that man.
I don't know why all women think that men just listen to Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is not the only RP, content that's out there. And the truth be told, a lot of these women just hate red pill content because it's making it harder for them to manipulate men. I remember when my ex-girlfriend, when me and her was together, she was very upset about the fact that I was watching Kevin Samuels back in the day. We would get in a fight at least once a month about the fact that I was watching Kevin Samuels. She was like, why do you watch this man? He's disrespecting women. But I later realized that she didn't like the fact that I was getting, kind of put up on game a bit. But a lot of these women just hate the fact that RP content is, just exposing them.
What is going on with the way men are talking to women these days?
Oh, it's the red pill content, and it's now so officially widespread and unavoidable that whilst it was originally aimed at people in like their 20s and high school, middle school years, it's reached people in their 30s and 40s, and I want to talk about it today because I've started to notice it too. Although in fairness, it really started to pick up and gain traction around like 10 years ago, so males in their 20s are now in their 30s and approaching their 40s, and this is how you ruin entire generations and spans of males and dating for everyone.
Can't the same be said about different movements that have affected women? But I guess this content currently is about women. There's plenty of things that are going on in terms of propaganda that everybody's being fed.
And if you're not familiar with red pill content, it's a lot of things now, but originally started as like male, like gym bro influencers trying to like teach beta males how to get women, but they would teach them all the wrong things so that they never actually got women, and they would be continually reliant on their channels and they made money forever. But a huge problem with that, besides the fact that men are literally just keeping each other down, is that women also have to deal with the outcomes of this, because it's teaching them to treat women like garbage, and apparently that's how you get girls, which obviously never works, and it became so prevalent that I literally gave up on dating a few years ago because it was so irritating to deal with such horrible little men. And it's literally so unbelievably wild when you see it in person. About a year and a half ago or so, a friend of mine and I were at a bar somewhere, and we ran into this group of guys, and we got to talking and kind of hit it off. And it was like a large group, and they were like, oh, a bunch of us are gonna go back and like chill at the apartment and like listen to music, maybe watch the movies if you guys want to come hang out. And it was a large group, and we're like, sure, that sounds fun, like an after party function. And so the moment we leave and we start like walking back to their apartment, which is a few blocks away, these men start being like weirdly passive aggressively rude to us, just openly, like blatantly to our faces. Like backhanded comments, subtle negging. All this is very like day one introductory to red pill content, right? Neg women and put them down. So literally red flags left and right till it gets to the point where we're like halfway to their apartment, and I turn to my friend, I like take her aside and I'm like, hey, what is going on here? And she's like, I don't know, but this is weird. Like, why are they suddenly such a-holes? And we both agree, like, we feel like we've committed to this. We're almost to the apartment, but if things don't turn around the second we get there, like, we're out because this is horrible. What is wrong with these men? So we finally get to the apartment where they said one of them lives, but then like a bunch of the other guys are just visiting in town, which is why there's blow up air mattresses everywhere. But right away, the whole place is decorated like an Airbnb, and the vibes feel very hotelish. And my friend picks up on this right away too, and we pull each other into the bathroom where again, it looks like bathroom essentials at an Airbnb, and we're like, do they even live here? Like, are they lying about even living here? I don't know what's going on. This whole thing is weird. Like, the vibes are weird. We gotta get out of here. Well, we go back into the kitchen, and I think there's like 6 men or so that were there total, and 5 of them, roughly, all of them except for the one guy talking to us, essentially, are just like sitting down on their phones, like locked in, as if we're not even there. And we're looking at each other like, what are we even doing here? Because there's only one guy still talking to us, and he's just being openly rude to us. And it got to a point where even I wasn't trying to fight back anymore, because I just didn't care, and you know that that's a bad sign when I've stopped fighting a man. And
get out of there, girl. What in the world is this story?
No point would any of them give us a straight answer for whether or not that was an Airbnb. They were.
Well, does that even matter at this point? You went with strange men that you just met at a bar to a place that you don't believe is their crib, and you're sitting there trying to justify whether or not this had anything to do with red pill content. What is this? What is this? What are we listening to?
We're staying at, which was like super weird. But at a certain point in being like ignored by these men in their own home, we were both kind of like, hey, so what's the move? Like, what are we doing here? Because they had promised us like that
at a certain point, it should have been as soon as we walked in. What are we doing?
there would be food and stuff back at the place. Like, are we ordering pizzas? And they literally looked back at us and they went, I don't know, what are you doing here?
No, y'all was some psychos. What?
I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah, what are y'all doing?
Actually, I turned to my friend. My friend was like, yeah, what are we doing here? Like,
yeah,
why'd you invite us back here, man? And so I turned to my friend.
Come on now.
And I was like, well, I was promised food, so I'm going to be eating all these chips, and then we can bounce. But then after having to be around these men for like 60 seconds more, I was like, you know what? Bags of chips are mobile. So I just grabbed the bag of chips off the table, and I was like, let's go. And she was like, please and thank you. And we head for the door. And we just announced, like, hey, we're going to go because you guys are all horrible. Goodbye. And we've just left. And that's how we left it. And like, I'm not stupid. I recognize that a lot of like the tactics and things that they were playing were taught to them by these like red.
Taught to them by these guys. What in the world? Y'all weren't even paying attention. Oh, all right. This is just bad. This is all right, baby. I want to sit there and agree with you. This is just bad decision making.
Pill channel influencers, like I've seen this before. But the funniest part is that they didn't have like any sort of a follow-up plan because it's literally never worked before. They don't teach you what to do when the women are finally back at your apartment.
I agree with that.
Because they don't expect you to ever get any.
So y'all.
So what y'all saying? They was down for a party.
The other day, I'm having a conversation with a content creator. We're acquaintances, but, you know, we were having this conversation and kind of trickled into dating. And he was telling me that he has had a hard time scoring with the ladies lately. And basically, during dates, girls go cold and kind of lose interest. Or when he did get one-night stands, they won't even come back for seconds. He's just getting ghosted. So I asked him to run me down the conversations he's having with these women during these dates. And I shit you not, he's using word for word verbatim from the Red Pill content community. I mean, he's criticizing age, weight, how much she makes, single moms, body count, if she's well-traveled, how much social media she uses. Sir, if you're just trying to get laid, why are you making this so complicated? Why? And he's like, no. And I'm just like, well, what content creators do you watch? And he was like, oh, I watch Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate and blah. And I was just like, and you're repeating the things these guys are saying? Okay, you gotta understand that women aren't stupid. Even though you think women are dumb, women know that you guys get online and watch this content. And what they hear is just a parrot, someone that just repeats over and over what they hear, what they think women want to hear. You're not coming off as a genuine guy. It's a...
At the end of the day, that stuff's got to be in you, bro. Like, I think y'all listen to these people who at the end of the day are, like you said, they're literal caricatures, right? They're not really being themselves, right? They're presenting themselves a certain way online for you to listen to them or be entertained a certain way. So listening to these people, regardless, listening to somebody that isn't you on how to operate as yourself, you know, I understand there's certain things in regards to focusing on things other than women. You know, people that spend their entire life just sitting there trying to chase the approval of women. That's not the things you should be working on. You should be worried about whether or not your bills are paid and whether your family's happy, whether you're happy, etc., etc.
I need to read a book and a manual just to figure out how a woman works. Women can smell that a mile away. And granted, I understand these podcasts are there for you to learn if you really have no damn idea, but it's a bad look when you're regurgitating everything another man says. It's giving robot. But the truth of the matter is that women are watching this content to peep guys like you. To be like, oh, he needed to watch that in order to bag me? Wow.
Yeah, as you guys can see, a lot of women made these posts on insecure guys.
They just lost.
Guys who are running to red pill content to get girls. But the truth be told, a lot of the real men who get in
time, but they're just skipping all that self-improvement shit. They're skipping all that and
that's what I was about to say. I think the one thing, to my extent of the knowledge with red pill is, it's about, you know, I guess it's alluding to the Matrix movie, but a lot of it is rooted in some sense of self-improvement, because a lot of men have to become men. They got to grow up, right? So you got to look at things that you need to do, or look inward in regards to improving yourself. And in return, you should see the benefits of that improvement in your day-to-day life, whether that's with relationships with family members, friends, women, or even, of course, bosses, how you see yourself in terms of your job, how you're looking to improve yourself on a day-to-day, you're looking to seek more knowledge. That's my understanding on it, because I'm assuming that you're supposed to be self-improving. And when you self-improve, you start to reap the benefits of said self-improvement. But, yeah, if you're just trying to, like, go bar for bar with Andrew Tate says, that's not going to work for you at all. Like, that's not even real life. I mean, come on now. The dude's facing charges for a reason.
Just wanting the better women, but when they don't get them, that's when they start women hating, women bashing.
Yeah,
you see, it's just a pipeline. Y'all getting stuck in that rut, and it's a pipeline straight to hatred.
Now we all know red pill.
And like the one show that was saying, a lot of these dudes are monetizing off of this. Nothing wrong with it, because you're looking to help people. But at the end of the day, when people are helped and they become a better version of themselves, they no longer need to subscribe or purchase your content or your courses or anything like that. So once they do that, they gone, and you're losing clientele. So at some point, you have to continue to prey on the people that are looking to keep this cycle going.
Type content has been around for maybe the last 10 to 12 years versus the 70 to 80 years that feminism content has been.
The Kevin Samuels thing, I think from my knowledge, it was just about level heading. I make a lot of men and women. He was a what, like a visual something. He was a self-improvement coach, where a lot of it had to do with what your appearance was and how you carried yourself, how you presented yourself, whether that was in your look, etc. And then similarly, you would attract a lot of that stuff based off of your first impression. And he would comment with people, you have to come to a reality, and that was men and women. But his clips that went viral was the conversations that he had with women. Obviously, he spoke to people a certain way that would trigger people and elicit a certain type of content. But I guess that's what made people upset. It's because the content made people upset.
Been out. And honestly, I know a lot of men who wish red pill content would have been out decades ago. It would have saved a lot of men from the trouble of becoming stepdads, a bunch of men from getting married and divorced from these women and going to court, and the women taking everything.
I do know there's been like a tick in people trying to understand female nature and trying to express that over to a lot of people. Like, obviously, we see a lot of people right now going insane in regards to like the Travis Hunter relationship and trying to tell them this is how you gotta understand women. Yeah, I get it, but I mean, women kind of got men figured out. I guess as a man, you got to learn what it takes to keep the women happy. Yeah, but that's true too. A lot of these women are getting advice similarly on what they're supposed to do in relationships, but I guess it's upsetting when the men get it. I do agree, a lot of these men are turning into incels simply because they are listening to people that keep them out of the game. So, you gotta have a brain of your own. Allow me to stop walking empty as women on bank accounts look amazing because of it. I wouldn't date Ripple because Ripple doesn't date. No transitioning. Women have been saying they've evolved over past the traditional roles, but these same women want me to remain the same. RP content has helped me realize, helped someone realize that we need to evolve to change what we expect from relationships. I retrieve relationships. Okay, my fault. So I guess a lot more Red Pill content is about relationships. I thought it was about self-improvement. Men waking up and becoming more informed at an earlier age of wanting bad relationships, making bad life decisions, and crushing women's plans. Can we all see how threatening male self-awareness is to them? But you have to be like a person too. Red Pill content didn't do anything to relationships. The man just realized he wasn't getting reciprocity. I kind of agree with that. They're getting exposed. I agree. I don't think like a dude watching Red Pill content would led to the downfall of a relationship. I think it was maybe an eye-opening instance, or maybe there were just already problems that they had internally that you just are noticing. Let me know in the comments below.